Hello everybody, we are Team Slinging Slashers, and this is our final presentation on finger puppet management. As previously introduced in our midterm presentation, our group is made up of Christy Burt, Bailey Gerasi, Alexandria Harwell, Alex Boda, and myself, Patrick Smith. We all worked very well as a group to ensure our group project was done correctly and submitted on time throughout the milestones and design challenges. Everyone did more than their fair share of work, and everybody collaborated very well together throughout the semester. We all feel very fortunate to have been grouped with such great teammates this semester. Our show is called SpongeBob SquarePants. The target audience for SpongeBob is 6 to 11-year-olds. However, people from all ages can enjoy the comedy animation. The setting takes place on the bottom of the ocean floor, with the main character being made out of a sponge. Eugene Krabs, the owner and founder of the Krusty Krab, is motivated solely by money. He values money above everything and treats people based on the impact that they have on their ability to make him a buck. He is overly protective of his Krusty Krab recipe and merely tolerates his employees because he does not pay them much and they are positively affecting his financial stature. Mr. Krabs is faced with managerial problems and is not always the prime example of what a boss should be, regardless of SpongeBob's willingness to please Mr. Krabs at every turn, as he is a very dedicated employee. Here is a list of characters from our show. SpongeBob is the main character of the show. Tireless and motivated employee at the Krusty Krab. Work is very important to SpongeBob, and he always wants to show Mr. Krabs how great of an employee he is. He has a great work ethic, works well in groups, and helps keep the other employees motivated. Eugene Krabs is the greedy owner of the restaurant where SpongeBob works, Krusty Krab. His management style is centered around what will get him the most profits. Mr. Krabs is always striving to be better than his competitor, the Chum Bucket. This also entails trying to keep the secret recipe of the Krabby Patty away from Plankton. Management style is all about controlling the opposition. He isn't much of a hands-on manager as much as he is an overseer of duties. Plankton is the owner of the Chum Bucket and Eugene Krabs' ex-best friend. His restaurant is a failure compared to the Krusty Krab. His management style centers around trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula, which Plankton says would lead to the downfall of the Krusty Krab. Next is Sandy. She's a squirrel that lives in Bikini Bottom with the help of an astronaut suit to breathe, which is good friends with SpongeBob. She is very smart, and this is shown by her existence in Bikini Bottom. Patrick is a starfish who plays the role as SpongeBob's best friend. He supports SpongeBob in his daily life struggles. He doesn't have a job though. Would not be an efficient employee because he doesn't know what he is doing, and it is implied that he isn't very smart. Next is Heidi Klum. She's a model on the shore and decides to visit Bikini Bottom for the unique opportunity of underwater modeling. Next we have Celebrity Chef, and he has a tough attitude and a tendency to yell at people who work with him. He was invited to Bikini Bottom to help with the recipe of the Krabby Patty formula. Next is important character Squidward. He's cynical and pessimistic cashier at Krusty Krab who is sometimes portrayed as SpongeBob's friend. He doesn't particularly like working at the Krusty Krab. He always seems bored and wants to leave. He also doesn't like dealing with SpongeBob's happiness all day. Does not work well in groups. His attitude affects the way he works and the way customers perceive him, and the restaurant as a whole. Next we have Dory. She's a server at Krusty Krab with a short-term memory loss. She forgets and brings wrong orders on the daily because she doesn't and can't remember her orders. Pearl is Mr. Krabs' daughter. She's a whale. She has Mr. Krabs wrapped around her finger. He'll do anything for her at any cost. Probably would not be a good employee because she is used to getting everything handed to her on a silver platter. She has never had to work for anything. The topics and concepts we applied to our videos from our Principles of Management course include but are not limited to employee motivation, management styles, management structure, managerial ethics, authoritative power distribution, and strategic implementation. Here's how we're going to explain how we applied concepts from our Principles of Management course to our videos. In Episode 1, Hell and Fire, we deal with the challenges managers have when motivating employees in the workplace. Here we are introduced to Krusty Krab and the main characters. Today is SpongeBob's first day on the job, and upon his first meeting with Mr. Krabs, he realizes that his interest is only in the wealth of the business and not in the welfare of his employees. The Krusty Krab runs on a flat organizational structure where Mr. Krabs serves as the only individual in a management position. SpongeBob begins his training by his co-worker Squidward, who has a negative attitude and therefore has lackadaisical work qualities. SpongeBob then becomes easily overwhelmed his first day of the job due to poor training with a large event in town. Because of the competitive environment we see in the workplace now, Mr. Krabs begins to take unnecessary actions towards SpongeBob and starts yelling at him in fear that he will lose customers if he doesn't get the food cooked faster. Because of his negative actions toward his new employee, Mr. Krabs ultimately causes a fire to erupt in the kitchen. Mr. Krabs threatens to fire SpongeBob now because of the incident that occurred. After much consideration, Mr. Krabs now realizes that speaking to his employees that way and putting that sort of pressure on them is not an effective managing tactic, and that from now on he needs to be more positive and helpful when it comes to managing employees and solving problems in the workplace, especially when motivating his staff with positive reinforcement. This can be a difficult task, but according to the text, managers must be ambitious and oriented toward problem solving. Therefore, Mr. Krabs must understand and learn how to overcome his challenges in a more professional way. Another example of how we applied the concepts we learned in Principles of Management to our videos is in episode 2, Make Me Money Now. Here we are dealing with the challenges of changing managing styles due to new competition in the market. Here again we are introduced to Mr. Krabs' obsession of wealth and his need to improve his profits in order to impress supermodel Heidi Klum. With stiff competition surrounding him, Mr. Krabs chooses to seek out new and fresh ideas to improve his business. He consults his two best employees, SpongeBob and Squidward, and implements the decision-making process to help choose what they are going to do to improve revenue. Since Mr. Krabs employs a diverse workforce, SpongeBob being a sponge and Squidward being a squid, this is an advantage because of the different life experiences and opinion they can bring to the table. Each of them comes up with a different idea to bring in more traffic to the restaurant and ultimately helps Mr. Krabs reach his goal to impress Heidi Klum and bring in more revenue. According to the text, managers should regularly search for new opportunities in the current marketplace or identify ideas that could create new markets. Therefore, Mr. Krabs is right to continually search for new ways to increase sales. This project has been an eye-opening experience to our group about the field of management. It is one thing to read about these topics in a book, but it is completely another world when it comes to making a project where we have to implement them. We have all been treating this project like a business where our common goal is to complete our assignments proficiently, and we each take turns delegating and serving as managers of the company. These skills will easily translate into different facets of the professional world. Whether we are in a management position or not, it is important to understand these skills, not only to make ourselves better employees of the companies we work for, or to gain understanding to the difficult task that it is managing others effectively. A recommendation for future students would be to get to know your group early on. It is important to get to know who they are and the best way to get a hold of them. We cannot stress the importance of getting started on assignments early. It is really helpful, especially for the bigger assignments that require filming and voiceovers. We would advise students to use tools they're comfortable with as well. Either that or get familiar with the technical aspects of the curriculum as soon as possible, because those are the types of problems that can pop up at the last minute. It is also important to double check your assignments and make sure that you are not missing any pieces to the milestone. Forgetting one small piece can result in a huge lowering of the grade. So it's always important to proofread and make sure that you have all parts of your assignment. Additionally, just loosen up and use your imagination. In Milestone 2, we loosened up and I think it really helped us to have fun with it. We created some funny storylines and characters. It really helped to make learning the concepts more fun and definitely more interesting. Overall, as a group, we have been challenged by this project, but by working together, we were able to overcome these challenges and create a product that we are all proud of.
Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up and now you're gone. Gary, I'm sorry I neglected you. Oh, I never expected you to run away and leave me feeling this empty. Your meow right now would sound like music to me. Please come home, 'cause I miss you, Gary.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, can't you see I was blind? I'll do anything to change your mind. More than a pet, you're my best friend. Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up and now you're gone. Gary, I'm sorry I neglected you. Oh, I never expected you to run away and leave me feeling this empty. Your meow right now would sound like music to me. Please come home, 'cause I miss you, Gary.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, can't you see I was blind? I'll do anything to change your mind. More than a pet, you're my best friend. Too cool to forget. Come back, 'cause we are family. And forgive me for making you wanna roam. And now my heart is beating like the saddest metronome. Somewhere I hope you're reading my latest. Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up and now you're gone. Gary, I'm sorry I neglected you. Oh, I never expected you to run away and leave me feeling this empty. Your meow right now would sound like music to me. Please come home, 'cause I miss you, Gary.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, come home.
Gary, can't you see I was blind? I'll do anything to change your mind. More than a pet, you're my best friend. Too cool to forget. Come back, 'cause we are family. And forgive me for making you wanna roam. And now my heart is beating like the saddest metronome. Somewhere I hope